People will tell you there's an alternative way to watch and digest the story of Jujutsu Kaisen that is different to the current way of release, which is Season 1, the film, and Season 2. We're going to look at that, and I'm going to give you the real way to watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, bear in mind, there will be spoilers ahead if you're not caught up with the story so far, but don't worry, I'm not going to focus on the recap. What I will be doing is commenting and pivoting off what we know so far, and help us reach 10,000 subs and join the Shaman tribe. Recap! When we go to Season 1, we start the story from the eyes of Itadori Yuji, who is a high schooler that has jammed himself into the world of Jujutsu. Oh, by the way, he's sentenced to death. By the way, he's caging the king of all curses inside of his body and psyche. He suffers tragedy, he suffers anguish, but he is slowly becoming a competent sorcerer under the tutelage of the strongest ever sorcerer, Satoru Gojo, and he gains an enemy in Mahito. And when we go to the film Zero, we pivot our character, go back in time to look at the story from the eyes of Yuta Okotsu, who is a loner and is afflicted with a curse, but then he's able to resolve that as well as defeat a former student in Suguru Ghetto. And in Season 2 we go even further back, as the first 5 episodes focuses on Gojo's past, as we see both Gojo and Ghetto being high schoolers in Jujutsu High, and we see the rise, fall, and divorce of Ghetto and Gojo, and then we resume back in present day and we see the greatness of the Shibuya incident. Now, the proposed alternative order to watch Jujutsu Kaisen is this: start off with Season 2 episodes 1 to 5, and then watch the film Zero, and then watch Season 1, and then watch episode 6 onwards from Season 2. Now, that is going back and forth, but chronologically you are sticking on track, and by doing so you will see certain aspects, certain nuances that are introduced and told to us in Season 1 are told to us in the film when we see Gojo and Ghetto reunite, and we understand them better because you're watching it from a chronological point of view. There's no missing piece of the story. You kind of understand everything as it's introduced and as it is released. Now, is that good? Yeah, it is good, because again, you're in the loop and you're not really missing out a lot of pieces. But what could the problems be? Now, one of the issues that could arise, in my opinion, is that you're watching it in this order, but then you don't like the change in main character. You might prefer Gojo, you might actually prefer Yuta, and you might not prefer Yuji, or you prefer Yuji and you don't like Yuta, blah blah blah. So that is the issue. And another thing is, my way and what I suggest in terms of how you want to watch Jujutsu Kaisen is watch it how it's released. Season 1, the film, and Season 2. Why do I say that? It's because if you have all the information at once, it might not be as surprising. You can actually have more rewatchability when you go back and watch Season 1 again. When you watch the film again, why on earth was Gojo so shocked? Why on earth was Ghetto so shocked and so happy as well? Why was Gojo so sad by the end when he's forced to kill his best friend? And even though you don't know why Gojo values Ghetto so highly as his best friend, you understand later. Sometimes not knowing the information immediately builds the patience and actually has a better payoff later on. Because personally, I truly do believe that with Season 2 starting off with Gojo's past and actually giving more context to dead Ghetto, it makes it more harder and more hard-hitting when we see Ghetto's body, pseudo Ghetto, and I'm not going to give further spoilers. It kind of makes you more angry but also more sad, and you see and you try to understand Gojo, because when we are introduced to Gojo, he's at his peak in Season 1. He's already the strongest. He's very difficult to break down mentally, but how did he get there? And you don't need to know that at that point. You start appreciating it more as you see the tidbits in Film Zero. His first time we see an inkling of him breaking, showing emotion that is out of the norm, that is going to affect his combat ability. And we see how he was a completely different person in the past, in the Gojo past arc of Season 2. He didn't value human life very much. He was very arrogant. He was very much a brash, annoying, and actually potentially evil character, but we saw that the evil character became Geto, who started off as the most righteous, as the most good, and we saw that Gojo ended up becoming the goodest of the good, the representation of what is the good side of Jujutsu, whereas Geto became the opposite. And it can be argued that both of their moralities are pure in their own narrative, with Gojo just being good, as well as Geto being enlightened, but actually enlightened to the darkness, and he has justified it himself, and that's why he has the moniker of the Black Buddha. You wouldn't understand that or see the gravity of it if you had it all from the beginning, and it doesn't have that same oomph to it. It doesn't have that same hurt to it. Bruv, when you look at the Gojo past arc and seeing Geto smile, why on earth does that make you sad? It makes you sad because you understand where he's going to become, but you're wondering what are the bits that happen to make him become that way. Having a story be linear is good and is easy to follow, but it's not always the best. It doesn't always heighten each emotion to its highest capacity when you're watching a story. You don't get the greatest of sadness, you don't get the greatest of happiness when you're watching things in order. You need that oh crap, that's why moment. Oh, this explains that moment, which you can get by telling a story through different chronologies from the past, from the present, as well as the future. So this is why I truly think that if you're going to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, watch it how it's released. Watch it with season 1, the film, and season 2, because you will get that oh crap moment, and there will be a big oh crap moment later on in the Shibuya incident, and there's going to be further oh crap moments in the manga, and we saw major oh crap moments, and I really want them to be at the highest potency when it hits you, because that is what's going to make you never forget the greatness of Jujutsu Kaisen. And there's not enough respect on the series, and I'm going to tackle that in a future video. But if you want to watch it in an alternative order, power to you. However, if you want to maximize the rewatchability of season 1, season 2, and the film, watch it in season 1, film, season 2, because trust me, you're gonna miss certain nuances and certain bits, and when you look back at it, you will be very appreciative of that fact.